I can take a break. You want? Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Not after school. All right. Okay, so guys, these are 4 free response style questions, and yeah, they are hefty. This one, I believe this one is even from before I was teaching math, which was been a minute.
It says 96.
Yeah. I'm not a teacher
A
then.
lot of years ago. It's like
That
so
is
many years
a-
ago I can't even like.
All right, let's not go there. Rude.
It was.
Not even. I was in grad school then. Okay. So I gave you guys the answers to part A. Believe it or not, part A is pre-calculus. So yeah. Well, whatever. Part A is pre-calculus. Find the average rate of consumption over the 10-year period. These are the solutions. Where did they get those numbers? Okay. So we can have the questions there. Okay. Average value is different than average. When they want the average temperature outside or the average name your function, average rate of consumption, this was given to us as that. So over the 10-year period, average rate looks like that, right, Safal?
Where'd they get 13?
Where'd they get?
I got the 110, but
Oh,
I just wrote 110. It's like 19.
so
We're just like doing it all
beginning
the
at
way
1980, and then they're being a pain. And again, this is an old style question. They're not gonna, the tricky things, that's not gonna be it. So starting at 1983, so that's a 3, and for 10 years from then, that's a 13.
Could you just
BC Calc or AB Calc, whatever, AP Calc is tricky enough. They're not gonna do that kind of jerk thing anymore.
would it be the same answer if you wrote 10 to 0?
No.
For that.
Because things like it's not exactly exponential, but it grows quickly. So in the first 3 years, maybe your little caffeine addiction wasn't that bad, but now that we like got hold of the teenage population and you guys all stop by Starbucks on the way to school because you need the sugar and the caffeine to bounce off the wall while sitting in a chair. That's always good. Yeah. Yeah, not good. Yeah.
Do you have access to like all of the AP questions from like the past year?
They're all on.
Yeah, you guys can all find them.
So like, have you
There's-
ever gone back and like looked at the questions from when you took the test?
You know, I didn't take the test. Didn't. It was not advertised as a thing to do, and you didn't spend $100 to take a test. You just didn't do that. So I didn't take the test, but they have been around since before I was born. So they go back to the 60s. Yeah, and they're all available. I started it. Thank you.
I'm actually looking not about this, but about the test on Wednesday.
Yep.
Like, what's actually on the test? Is it just U substitution?
So what's on the test? Chapter 6. What is chapter 6? Chapter 6, this counts as chapter 6. Like, all right, this is an old concept, use the trapezoid rule, but on these free response style questions, you might see old things. I can still expect you guys to be able to do derivatives, which derivatives was chapter 3. This trapezoid rule is chapter 4. So, all right, what is on it? 6.1, U substitution is definitely on it. Slope fields, initial value problem, like those, you'll definitely see something like that. What is that? We'll get there.
So like, should we study these three responses and all the ones we've already done?
Okay.
Or-
Hang on, I'm trying to remember what was 6.2.
This is not a differential equation.
The
With separating the
separated.
variable.
That's more of this. Okay.
Definite integrals and practices.
And definite integrals, so Indy, free response questions can be anything. It will be focused around this stuff. Like probably not so much knowing how to do trapezoid rule because big deal. But being able to understand the meaning of stuff, that might be a relevant thing. And who didn't get these on Friday? Yes, no? Okay.
This was gone.
Skip. You got it, right? There's this. Like this is a good chapter 6 kind of thing. And notice it says no calculator. Asher in the back, Asher. How do I do the double derivative given that guy?
For that, we have to do a product rule.
Gross. Okay. How do I do that?
So I started with, I just kept y squared, and then it times -2. And then I added 2y, and then you can put in, 2y, and then you can put in that original derivative, I believe.
Okay. First step. First term, the way I do these, first term times the derivative of the second. So he said I kept the y squared, did the derivative of the second. Please keep parentheses. If you don't have parentheses on that thing that was multiplied, it's not written, but it's implied to be multiplied between those two things. If there's no parentheses, it's no longer multiplied, it's subtract. Okay, plus the second times the derivative of the first. Derivative of y squared with respect to x, 2y, then derivative of y with respect to x is that dy dx. You need to remember that. And on the test, I asked for this double derivative as an equation. You needed to finish. And some of you were like, but I did. And Asher said he put in what dy dx equals, and that would be considered finished. Some of you on the test plugged numbers in and got a value here, and then used that number in place here, which is it's not a general answer. It's only going to work at that one place where the slope was whatever 2. So you needed a general thing with all of the quote variable stuff figured out. Okay, so there's the double derivative. Morgan, how do I find the double derivative evaluated at that coordinate?
You just plug it in.
Just plug stuff in. It's kind of gross. So how do I do that? So -2 with y squared.
116.
1/16 plus 2y, 2 times 1/4 is 1/2. 6 minus 6. Oh, well, that's nice. So what does it come out to be? Like I didn't have to care anymore. 0, nobody's gonna be undefined. It's 0 times I don't care what. Okay, that's not so bad, right, Sam? I like. I might do part B.
Find differential equation. So we have to separate the variables.
Yes, first step. Okay, so I have dy over here and dx over here.
We have to move y squared over,
How do I move it over?
divide.
Divide. Okay, Carson, what next?
I'm gonna take the integral of those.
So what is the integral of this side?
Um,
Looks easy and it's not.
y to the negative y to the negative first.
Okay, raise the power from -2 to -1. Raise the power, divide by the new power, which was -1. And then chain rule, which doesn't really apply here. So that will do it. I cannot do this problem this way. I work with it in this form. Raise the power from -2 to -1. And then dividing by -1 is the same as multiplying by -1. To me, it's easier for me to work with here, but they are equivalent. Keon, what were you gonna say? How do I integrate this side then?
It would just be 6x minus x squared plus c.
And Iris, how come I didn't have to add a c on both sides?
Because there's only one C value, so like if you add 2 C's together, it's still just a C.
Unknown lump over here added to an unknown lump over there. I can just be like unknown lump, put it all in one place. Okay. So Fall, I am not finished. It says give the answer as y equals f of x. So I need to solve for y and some other things.
So you plug in the value for x and y, and you find c first.
Okay, you plug it in. This is hard.
Okay. Well,
So what like in particular, plugging in the y value, what does that become?
that becomes
-4? Will, were you gonna say that? -1 over 1/4. You guys don't like fractions, and a fraction with a fraction in it, you guys are like, tap out, done. But yes,
18 minus 9.
so Keith, what do I end up with as the c value? This becomes 9, subtract it to the other side, -4 minus 9 is -13. Put the star on it. So, Mael, what does this equal? -1 over y equals what?
6x minus x squared minus 13.
Okay, but Francis, I have -1 over y. I want just positive y. What do I need to change to make that fix?
You switch Y and whatever's on the right. Then if you like variables,
How do I do that?
essentially you multiply both sides by Y and divide it by 6x minus x squared minus 13.
Okay, so we could do the trick that I mentioned earlier.
Isn't it we just kind of like flip them and put 1 over the other side plus make it negative?
Negative or something.
Okay. I've shown you this before, yeah? Are these fractions true?
Mhm.
So if I trade places like that, does 1/4 equal 2 over 8? Yes? Noah, yes? That's true, yeah? So I forced this thing to be a single fraction. All that junk above, and a 1 underneath. I'm gonna trade places So I have -1 over 6x minus x squared minus 13 equals y. Done. You guys,
Oh, you just did
I did the, but this is a whole group. You guys, on quizzes and tests that I've seen in the past, you try and turn each individual thing upside down, and that does not work. Like, that's math jail.
If we made all the things if we flip the sign of all the things in the denominator, is that okay? -6x plus x squared plus 13.
So effectively, what you did was multiply the top and the bottom by -1, which is multiplying by 1, so it changes the look but not the value. Yes, you can do that. So this is correct, and this is correct. AP would accept both. Good? Yep. Jackson, how you doing?
Good.
Come on, babe.
That's the same thing as saying -1 is equal to y times the equation. You just divide both sides by the equation.
Correct, which is one of the strategies someone else said to do. But my issue is when you guys look at it like this, you see them each as individual equations and you turn each little guy upside down, and that does not work. Not.
Turn each one upside down.
I don't want to tell you. I don't want to show you the wrong thing. People turn this guy upside down, made this 1 over 6x, 1 over x squared, and that's just wrong. So Carson, is this terrible? Was this, like, were you able to do this one? Should you have
Homework?
attempted to do it as homework, would you have been able to do it?
I was not able to, but now I.
So now you've reformed, you've seen the light. So this is how the grading rubric went on this. 3 points for part A, finding the double derivative correctly, that you did the product rule correct, and chain rule, and then plugged in. Yeah,
On the AP exam, how much time do you have?
okay. For the free response, you have an hour and a half. The first 2 questions are with calculator, and you have those 2 problems and a calculator for 30 minutes. And then you have to put the calculator away, and then you can open up the other 4 problems. And then you have a remaining hour. So you can go back to any problems you want, but you may not go back to the calculator. And question 3 and 4 tend to be faster. Question 5 and 6 tend to suck. And those are the ones that some kids draw pictures and write poems and recite lyrics to their favorite songs. Like, dear Mr. Connor, I am so sorry. I swear I know math better than this.
Have you ever written sorry on a test before, like as a student?
Me, as a student?
Yeah.
No. I don't waste my time with that. I might doodle, but no.
I don't
But
have time to do. I have time to apologize though.
no. Yeah.
Sometimes you feel bad because it's like you should know it, and like they taught it to you. But sometimes you just don't know it.
You can't be bothered. Okay. This kind of thing. So integration is this. So Logan, any idea how, like, what this question means? Okay, first of all, we have water is pumped into an underground tank at a constant rate of 8 gallons per minute.
I wouldn't be able to do this.
Asher?
I set up the integral from 0 to 3 and put it in that
The integral of what?
root t plus 1.
Okay, how many gallons of water leak out? So gallons in is 8 gallons every minute. It's a constant rate. Water leaking out at this rate, and the first question just said, how much water is leaked out over the first 3 minutes? So the integral of that from 0 to 3 will give you the total, I would say accumulated, but amount lost. And this is non-calculator. So, Natalie, what is the integral of this?
It's t plus 1 to the 3 halves times 2/3.
Raise the power to the 3 halves, divide by 3 halves is multiplied by 2/3, and then evaluate it from 0 to 3. So, what do I get? Plugging in 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. What is 4 to the 3 halves?
8.
8. Because do the square root first. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 to the third is 8.
16 thirds. Let's multiply that.
Minus 2/3 and plugging in 0. So Asher, what'd you get in the end? 16/3 minus 2/3. And they didn't tell me I had to include units, but Roisin, what would the units be? Gallons. So overall, maybe it's 14/3 gallons were leaked over the 3 minutes. Like that's what that meant. That's what this integration is. How many gallons are in the tank? Carmen?
You said if the interval from 0 to 3 for the constant rate of 8 gallons per minute, and you add 30.
Okay, so this was A. Okay, she says integrate from 0 to 3, 8 gallons per minute.
You add 30.
And add the 30. Where's the 30 coming from?
Because that's how much it has inside at the start.
Okay. So we had 30 and we gained,
Wouldn't you also have to take out 14 thirds?
this. Wasn't there yet, but
Oh,
yes.
I thought you were gonna write that as part of the equation.
Minus the leaked stuff. And just to fix something here, the rate was 8. So when she was integrating it, she was integrating 8 and got 8t. I put the t in there and I shouldn't have.
Those 2 8 times.
So 8 gallons went in for 3 minutes, so you gained 24 gallons plus that 30, and then subtract the leaked stuff from part A. And if you got part A wrong, but you did correctly subtract it from part B, you will get full credit for part B,
Even if it's the wrong answer.
even if it's the wrong answer. The exception would be if you got, it didn't leak nothing, the gallons leaked was 0. They'd be like, nah, I don't care. So if you make a mistake to the point that it trivializes the next question, they don't give it to you.
Do you have to set up the integral on that one, or could you literally just do 8 times 3?
You don't?
Okay.
You don't? Noah?
Yeah, is it 8 times 3 because it's like a rectangle?
Yeah, it's constant. Yeah. Write an expression for the total number of gallons in the water in the tank at time t. Anybody got that one? You got it, Sam?
This question actually confused me the first time because I ended up doing that in B because I was overcomplicating it. But I got you just take. We know that the rate of change of entry is a constant 8 gallons per minute, so that's just 8t. And then we know that the rate of it exiting is the square root of t plus 1, so we subtract that. And that's the total rate of change, so we need to take the integral.
Little mix and match here. Natalie, what do you have? There's something fuzzy. So, total number of gallons in the tank. I had 30 gallons, and I am
Right,
adding.
that's
This is integrated already. So, So we started with 30 gallons, right? I was gaining 8 gallons per minute. If I integrate 8, I get 8t. Because in 1 minute, I'm going to have 8 gallons. In 2 minutes, I gain 16 gallons. 3 minutes, I gain 24 gallons, right? It's not 8t here, it's just 8. This, the amount that's leaking, being lost, is the integral of this guy. From 0 to whatever time, they were like, how much water's in there in 5.7 minutes? Plug in your 5.7. Yeah? How do we find, Sydney, how do I find maximums and minimums?
You have to find the derivative and when it equals 0.
So derivative of what? I want the maximum total number of gallons, so don't I need to do the derivative of part C? Whatever answer I got. And so Asher, in terms of partial credit, if you forgot the input or the out, like the how much was gained and how much was lost, if you forgot one component of that, they might not give you the partial credit for part D. If you just said, oh, it's 8. Noah?
So the equation for C is 8c plus the integral of that plus 30.
And let's see, did they want it as like integrated already? So method 1, they wrote it as a single integral. I wrote it as 2 different ones. But there you go. It's a whole bunch of choices. Then the derivative of whatever method you found here. And Francis, how do we do? How do I do the derivative of an integral? It's just the stuff inside with, instead of that variable, we plug this guy in. How do I, what if it was t squared? How does that change this?
What do you mean?
Derivative of the integral, we were just told that 0 to t, we just take this square root thing and plug t in where x was. I now made it t squared. How is it different?
You take the derivative of t squared
Okay.
and put it in finance.
Mael, I forgot one more thing. Because I changed, this is not t anymore, it's t squared. What do I have to do? I gotta fix something. Keon, what do I need to fix?
It's just 2, right?
What?
Oh, you need to add t squared to the other side. Let's take a look.
Plug this in where x used to be and then multiply by the chain rule on the outside like we just were told. What, how come the other piece doesn't matter? Natalie?
Because it's 0 / a constant, and so the derivative of 0 / a constant is 0.
So even if that was an 8 and I plug in the 8 plus 1,
It wouldn't matter.
because then the derivative of 8 was 0 and it goes away. Okay, just checking. Did any of you actually do this problem? You did? What'd you get as an end answer?
I got the equals C. I got y equals natural log of 2x cubed plus 2e over 2, which I probably is not right.
There are a couple of ways this could have been written.
How does, if you plug in y, does it not just e to the 1?
Okay, should we try it?
Yes.
Uh-huh,
Was that counseling?
uh-huh.
No, I was. You can go ask Miss Heal.
Okay, CP, we need to separate and integrate this.
Okay.
How do I do that?
Well, you gotta move the e to the y.
E to the
move
2y.
Go to the left, and then dx into the right. And then do the first derivative. Oh wait, are we integrating or what are we doing? We're considering, okay, we gotta integrate that.
We gotta integrate that.
And then to the left it's e to the 2y over 2. Right? And then for the right it's just 3x. I mean x is there. Plus c.
Forget the plus C, you throw away like 4 or 5 of the 5 or 6 points. Okay. Keith, what do I do now?
You solve for c.
Okay, how do I do that? What coordinate am I plugging in?
Your x would be 0, your y would be 1.
The x would be 0 and the y would be a half. So it's e to the 1 over 2 equals c. Okay. So then, Noah, how do I go from here? E to the 2y over 2 equals x cubed plus e over 2.
So first you would have to multiply both sides by 2 to
Multiply everybody by 2. Okay.
get rid of the 2.
Okay.
And then you would have to take the natural log of both sides to get rid of the e's.
Hey, and guys, when you do natural log, it's to the whole thing. So Lanham, what's natural log of e to the 2y?
Just 2y.
Just 2y. What about this side? Natural log of stuff. Does anything pop
You
out?
can
Like,
just leave it as that.
you have to leave it as that.
And then you just divide by 2.
Hold on, guys. I can't pull.
Isn't that, oh, it's not next. That's it. Yeah, that one.
Addition across like bases becomes multiply inside, but when it's added inside, it's just there.
Then you just divide by 2. If it was like e times 2x cubed, and then you do the natural log of that, you cancel the natural log and the e.
If I needed to do e right here, that would
Well,
cancel.
no, but if it was like natural log of e 2x cubed with the e and the natural log cancel in the.
You'd have to write down what you're asking, so I make sure that I don't misunderstand. But if you write something down, I'll look at it. So guys, this is a correct answer. And the Joey rule, I have a student that would write this like that because he would always insist on being complicated. This 2 is a 1/2. I can take a coefficient out front and bring it in as an exponent, and something to the 1/2 is square root. Yes?
So they get e equals c because they multiplied the 2. Like, I don't understand it.
They didn't get E, well, they got E equals C.
But that's because.
We got E over 2.
But it would be the same answer. Right?
It does give us the same answer, which is why
They got e equals c. How?
Doesn't it depend where you put in the point? So if you had canceled the 2 out earlier and then put in the point.
here, I froze this here because I was told, get the value of C. All right, but right here, if instead of freezing this here, I multiplied both sides by 2, I would get e to the 2y equals 2x cubed, and then if I didn't double the c value, I'm gonna get e instead of e over 2. Doesn't matter. Okay, I would rather do the rest of the review than the last piece. Is this posted? Or at least I think it's posted. There is not a review delta math. Hey, you guys tell me copies? Did you guys get one? Okay, just curious. That first one, yeah? That first one is probably the hardest one on here. Yeah?
Actually, is it ln of the absolute value of 1 plus
Okay,
4?
natural log is of the pattern something linear. Linear meaning the exponent down here is to the first. That would be natural log of x plus 7 plus c. Is this to the first power down here? No. Daniel, or Isaiah, you see something?
So would it be wrong if you put 1 plus 4x squared here and then you do substitution?
Okay, if I try u substitution, which is a good idea, the du is 8x dx. I can move the 8. Do I have an x dx anywhere to swap stuff out?
No.
No, so I'm screwed.
Can you separate the fractions? Do like 1 over 1 plus 1 over 4x squared.
Okay. Does that equal 1 over 1 plus 1 over 4? Does 1/5 equal 1.25? Cannot separate when it's in the denominator.
Can you just put the denominator to the negative first power?
No, okay, so the catch. Daniel, what's the catch? Tan inverse.
Yeah, oh, there it is.
Okay, what is the AP exam is obsessed with this. Really, you gotta know this one.
I thought
Yeah?
it's 1 over
1
1.
over 1 plus x squared.
Okay. 1 over 1 plus x squared. So these aren't exactly the same. Is it close though? This is 1 over 1 plus what squared? Not 4x squared. 2x times 2x, that guy squared. Okay, so if you want to use u substitution, go right ahead, but I'm going to do this arctan of 2x divide by the derivative of 2x. Well, what is the derivative of 2x? 2. So I'm going to divide by 2, and then don't forget plus c. Do I need plus c? Okay, I'll show you in a second. But looking at these first 4, do they all need a plus c?
Yes.
No.
No, which one does not need a plus c? Number 4.
There's thingies on
There's thingies on it, that's the math
It has
word.
bounds.
There are bounds.
Yeah.
Okay, but Eric, where did the 2 come from? If I don't know how to deal with this as it's written, I'll be like, all right, u is 2x, du is 2x dx. So I'm going to swap these things out. This is 1 over 1 plus u squared, and then I need to replace dx with 1/2 du. So this is 1/2 arctan of u plus c. What was the u value again? 2x. So if you guys, if it's just a constant, I am fine with you going from here to there.
Are we such like can we have like a review day for like the trig identities, integral derivatives?
Tomorrow is your review day period for the chapter 6 test, which is Wednesday. And it's already written and copied. Yep.
Can we just go over how to do 2?
How do we do 2? Like that looks like a beast, right?
You just like I simplified it.
How'd you simplify it?
Maybe x minus 1 over x minus 1 over x squared.
So a second ago, this was not okay. Why is this all right now? Like in the numerator, 1 plus 3 over 5 is 1/5 plus 3/5. That's okay. That's true. So yes, absolutely, Asher. Divide and conquer is what I call these.
Alright, what did you do for that?
Okay, treat it as 3 little problems. What's the integral of x?
X squared over 2.
Okay, x squared over 2. That wasn't so bad. Okay, now you got another one. What's
Ln x.
minus natural log of absolute value? And then this one?
Negative. Or just do 1 over x plus 1 over x.
Raise the power to -1. Divide by that -1.
That's not that.
So one piece at a time. But looking at it in the first place, it's like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Yes, they are obsessed with tangent and tangent inverse. Happiness and joy. Okay, so guys, the plan tomorrow is to go over the rest of this sheet. Please do it for homework.
We're also going through, like, it's in terms of you know.
Yeah?
You choose the integral of x. So you can just change.
So I think